let's get started. Okay, so PTO, let's talk about PTO. So if you don't know what PTO is, it's paid time off, right? It could be, paid time off and 6 days, or it could just be paid time off, right? But in essence, it's the time that you get for vacay, right? And a lot of times, sometimes most people don't only get like maybe a week. I think the majority of Americans get 2 weeks. I think I get a little over 2 weeks. I think I get 2.5 weeks. Some people I have found out who work in these government streets get 5 to 6 weeks off. But yeah, regardless of how much you get, there are so many ways that you can strategize in order to make your PTO really work so that you can feel like you have a lot more time off than you really do. So one of the things that I always do, right? I've been doing this since forever ago, since I started planning my very first vacay. My very first adult vacation was to Cancun. Shout out to my bestie, Zanitra Diddy's Perry. We went to Cancun and we went for what? Memorial Day. So the first tip is plan your travel around a holiday, right? Especially if you only have 1 week off, the best way to ration out your days is really to plan it around a holiday, because you can take advantage of that free day, in essence, to add on to your vacay days, right? So for instance, I would say if you're planning around the holiday, don't do the Friday before, do the day after. So for instance, Memorial Day is on Monday. Usually people are winding down on the Friday anyway. You probably aren't going to have a lot of work to do anyway on the Friday. And it usually feels more of a vacay if you actually take off the Tuesday after Memorial Day, right? Or say the Tuesday after Labor Day than it does if you are taking off the Friday before, right? Also, everybody is taking the Friday off before. So really, if you're trying to go get your hair cut or do the things, like everybody's gonna be out because everybody's taking that Friday off. So take off the Tuesday after the holiday, whether it's Labor Day, Memorial Day, for instance. Plan it around Black Friday is probably a good time to take off, because it's kind of weird to have to be off on Thursday and then go back on Friday. And then if you do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, then you kind of have that 4-day weekend. But in general, the tip is plan your vacay, use your PTO around a holiday, right? It makes the holiday feel so much longer. And then also when you do the day after the holiday, so maybe the Tuesday after, your week feels so much shorter, right? So not only did you have that weekend, but now the week is only Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and then you're done, right? Tip number 2 is fit in 2 weekends by leaving on Friday and coming back on Sunday, right? So usually when I travel, I am gone for at least 10 days. Sometimes it's 11, usually no more than about 13, right? But the way that I stretch my PTO is I will leave on Friday, and I'll talk a little bit about when on Friday I leave, but I'll leave on Friday and then I will be gone Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That's 9 days, right? That's 9 days. But how many days of PTO did I actually use? 6, right? So I used Friday, I used Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, right? So and technically if I come back on Sunday, then I'm technically off on Sunday too. So that's 10 days, right? So I used 10 days. I've been off of work for 10 days, but I only used 6 days of PTO, right? So that's the way you can stretch your PTO even more, is if you leave on Friday and don't come back to the next Sunday. But one thing that you want to do before you leave is get everything done, right? Because you don't want to come back on the Sunday and use that whole day trying to prep for work, catch up on whatever it is, cook, clean your house, all the things. Like, it's helpful to do those things before you leave, so that when you come back that Sunday, it's actually a day off too, right? It doesn't feel like a prep day, right? So that's tip number 2. Tip number 3 is something that I've done before, and it gets back to the holidays, right? So tip number 3 is taking a Monday and a Friday off consecutively in the middle of the month, right? So I've been doing that recently because I haven't really been traveling as much, but I need to use my PTO and I just need time off. I need a break, and it makes my month feel so much shorter, right? So if you take Monday and Friday off consecutively in the middle of the month during months that don't have a holiday, right? Because we just talked about what you can do when you have a holiday. You have the holiday, you take the day off after the holiday, or you take a day off the week after the holiday so that that week after still feels shorter, right? But for instance, what months have holidays? January, February, April, May, July, September, November, and December, right? So that leaves you with March, June, August, and October. March, June, August, and October. So that's 4 months that don't have what I'll call corporate holidays. You meaning usually people are off during that time, right? So in those months, work the first week, right? Work the second week. Of the second week, take that Friday off, and then take the Monday off of the next week, right? So that way, in the middle of your month, so say the month of October, we're in October. In the month of October, now it feels like I've had 2 short weeks, even though I had no holiday, right? And I don't know about y'all, but a four-day week feels so much lighter than a 5-day week. I don't even know why that is. I mean, it's only 1 day, but it feels so much lighter, right? And so I've been kind of incorporating that a little bit, well, a lot during COVID. In fact, I'm off next Monday because I just needed some time. And so it has felt so much lighter. Like, even for instance, I took off, like I planned out all of my holiday time, all of my days off in like July or maybe August, because I was like, I'm not traveling, I'm not using my PTO, but I need the relief. I need to get some stuff done on the side. So let me just plan my days out, right? I put my PTO around my holidays, like I said. Then I said, okay, what months don't have holidays? All right, so for those months, I'm in the middle of the month, I'm gonna take off a Friday and a Monday together, and that is gonna feel like I worked a full week, a half week, full week, right? That month feels very different. In fact, I almost just skipped when I realized that I'm off this coming Monday because I had forgot. So yeah, that's tip number 3. Tip number 4 is take a day off, but don't take a full day off, right? So every hour counts. So we'll go back to leaving on Friday, right? You remember earlier I was talking about leaving on Friday and then not coming back to the following Sunday, right? So when you leave on Friday, don't take 8 hours on that Friday, right? Because usually when you're flying somewhere, you're potentially not going to do anything as soon as you arrive, depending on what time you arrive. So usually I like to arrive at places at night or in the late afternoon, because I just kind of like, I'm unpacking, I'm getting my bearings, I'm understanding kind of what it is that I'm doing, and then the next day I may have something planned, like I have an excursion or experience something planned, right? So if you're gonna get there late anyway, you can work a few hours, right? Say you work 4 hours, say you work 2 hours, right? Asia, take half, then fly to wherever you're going. You potentially will get there in the evening and, you know, rest, get ready for the next day, right? So when you taking a day off, because even again, just like a short week, a half day feels so much lighter. Like, it's like, oh, I didn't work 4 hours. Oh my God, I feel like I did nothing. So use half a day. You know, when you're going to take off, use half a day when you're going on a trip. But even in general, right now, when you are in COVID-19, you're in pandemic, you're not doing full vacays, you're maybe just going somewhere where you live, you're going an hour away, whatever it is, don't use your full day, right? Use half days in order to kind of extend your hours, especially for people who only have like a week. But it makes the day feel a lot lighter, and it makes the weekend feel longer for some reason. So say for instance, you only have a week of PTO, take a half day on Friday, be off the rest of the time, Saturday, Sunday, and then be like, look, I'm taking a half day on Monday. That Monday don't even feel like a real day. I don't know. Y'all let me know. It doesn't to me. I don't know. It just doesn't feel like a full day. So yeah, especially if you're going to be, you know, traveling. So if you're traveling not via plane, so maybe you're traveling via car or train or whatever, like taking a half day is so much better, and then you have those extra hours to use. All right, so the last tip around maximizing your PTO, right? We're trying to maximize it and make it feel like we have way more than we do. The last tip is if you actually travel for work, right? Some people travel for work. I used to travel a lot for work. Extend your business trip, like add days to your business trip if possible. For instance, I would maneuver so that if I had a meeting for a business trip on, say, a Thursday, and it was somewhere that I wanted to be. So for instance, my grandmother lives in Coral Springs, Florida, actually Margate, Florida, right? And my company has a customer service center in Melbourne, Florida, right? They're probably maybe 2 hours or so apart. So I knew I wanted to be near beach. I wanted to see my grandmother. And so what I did was we went down for a training. And the great thing about this is you ain't even paid for the flight, right? You're going on a flight anyway. If you don't have to be back till Monday, right? Use that PTO time and be like, look, I'm just gonna take that day off. They don't need to know that you're staying in Florida or wherever you're staying, like whatever. And usually you could potentially even get a cheaper flight because you're not flying back before the weekend, right? You're gonna fly back on, say, Monday, or you're gonna fly back on potentially the Sunday or whatever it is. Like, so try to squeeze in some stay at the destination a little longer. You know, book, maybe you go to a different hotel, right? Maybe you move from the hotel that you're staying at for work and you move to an Airbnb, right? Or a cheaper hotel, whatever, because it's gonna be on your dime. But use that time to explore new places, right? I think sometimes I would say in general, in the Black travel movement, sometimes people shun when you're not going out of the country, right? It's like, if it ain't international, if I ain't getting a passport stamp, it ain't travel. That ain't true, right? There is an opportunity to see new things, to experience new things, new cultures, new music, new dance, new people, right? New language right here in these United States. So take advantage of that time. Like, I just literally got a rental car. I drove from Melbourne to Boca Raton. I spent time with my grandmother. I chilled out on the beach. I read a book. I did some remote some remote work on my laptop. And I was like, I'll see y'all in Philly on Monday. So make sure that if you do get a chance to travel for work, figure out a way that you can go on whatever trip it is. I think one time I went to Memphis for work and I just stayed a few more days because why not? I got stuff to see in Memphis, like, and had a good time. Like, you know, they're gonna pay for your flight. That's the best thing about it. They're paying for your flight. So you don't have to pay for your flight. And usually that's a lot of money, depending on where you're going. So take advantage of that flight and book an Airbnb after you leave the hotel, whatever they have you staying in, and stay a little while. Like, meet some people, explore. It doesn't matter if you're not traveling internationally. It's still travel, it's still adventure, it's still a new experience, and you should take advantage of it. So, are y'all gonna use these things? I need you to take these days off, okay?